This is my Nikita Tszyu versus Michael Zerafa bottom preview and bottom predictions for the main event and the tour main event. So the tour main event we will start off with, which is Ian Powell versus Paddy Donovan, 12-round contest with the IBF World Welterweight title in there to become mandatory to newest quarter's IBF title, of course. Obviously, Ian Powell, former world champion, of course. Obviously defeated Seville Mateus, which was probably his best win, in my opinion. Ian Powell, got that toughness about him, hasn't he? Impressive fighter, natty talented for me. Definitely has strategic skill sets. Doesn't use it enough, in my opinion. Sometimes composed, got that precision. Obviously got a rugby background, hasn't he? Ian Powell. But with his strategic skill set, for me, he still needs to work on his defence for me, Ian Powell. He gets hit far too easy, as we saw against David Pavot in one of his recent fights. Paddy Donovan, obviously still southpaw. He owns a background, doesn't he? Obviously, Andy Yee's his trainer, very good trainer, Andy Yee. Conditioning's very good. He's a raw talent, isn't he, Paddy Donovan? Arguably, it was arguably robbed, in my opinion, in the Crocker rematch. I thought he was robbed in the rematch against Crocker personally, but it's what it is. It's done now. Obviously, the first fight against Crocker, he can't argue with it. He did punch after the bell, didn't he? He did punch after the bell. But again, it's one of them where I would have just let him off. I would have just let him off there, not to do it again. And obviously, like I said, obviously, he's a power puncher as well, Paddy Donovan. But still southpaw, he's got power as well. He's a power puncher as well. Tough one, isn't it? I think this is tough to call. It's this Paddy Donovan mentally for me. It's just the mental side of Paddy Donovan where he'll feel he was robbed in the Crocker rematch. I felt he was as well. And is that going to affect him mentally during this fight? Well, Ian Powell definitely has a better mentality, a better mental side than Paddy Donovan for me. And I think it could come down to that, in my opinion. I think it's going to be very close. It will be very close on scorecard. I'm going to edge towards Ian Powell, though he is a former world champion for a reason. And these big fights, knows how to win these big fights, even though Donovan, you have to say, Paddy Donovan was probably robbed, to be fair, in the quarter rematch. So it's just that mental side for me. I think Powell will have the edge on the mental side, in my opinion. So I'm definitely Powell to win on points, but it will be a pick and fight between the two of them. And I think Powell just edged it for me. Finally, Nikita Tszyu versus Michael Zerafa, 12-round contest, 157 pounds catch weight. Which should suit, for me, Nikita Tszyu more because he's done be gaining weight, isn't he? From 154. While Michael Zerafa will be losing 3 pounds after being at that middleweight. Obviously, been fighting at middleweight as well. And I think that's the difference. That could be the difference here in this fight, because I do think it is a close fight, close at all. Because we don't know how good Nikita Tszyu is. I think Michael Zerafa has been in with the better opponents. Obviously, he has been beaten by the better opponents, Michael Zerafa as well. In terms of Eswan Diarra and Kel Brook, just to name a few. Well, Nikita Tszyu, his resume for me does not look good at all, does it? Really, let's be real. He's expected to win all them fights as well. And I think this is a step up for me for Nikita Tszyu. But he is going to be gaining weight as well. Gaining 3 pounds, while Michael Zerafa will be using 3 pounds as it is at catch weight. I think all this catch weight is a lot of bollocks, in my opinion. But I don't think it's that much of a difference. I mean, 3 pounds can be a lot to use, to be fair, as we saw with Chris Eubank Jr. in the first cancelled fight against Conor Benn, where he got trained to fuck, didn't he? When I was at £157. So I see Michael Zerafa could be at a disadvantage here. We need to have a look, see how they look on the weigh-in scales. And in terms of both fighters, Michael Zerafa, when he's at his natural weight, he's got that aggression and pressure, good sharp, definitely got the tail power and work rate, definitely tough. But Michael Zerafa, for me, he's too predictable. He's too predictable. He hasn't got any adaptability. He's too witted as well. And while Nikita Tszyu, obviously the son to Costa Tszyu, brother to Tim Tszyu as well. And he's got Nikita Tszyu though. He has definitely got a unique aggressive style, which I think is going to be key, especially when Michael Zerafa is at a disadvantage, using £3 as well. And Nikita Tszyu is starting to develop his strategic skills as well. And for me, I do think that Nikita Tszyu will win this fight. I think he's got the more advantage than Michael Zerafa, in my opinion. Because if this was at middleweight, for me, I would actually fancy Michael Zerafa to win. But I just feel with the way it's made at, I just think it all favours Nikita Tszyu for me. In my opinion, because he's done be doing the weight while Michael Zerafa's done be using the weight. And £3 is still quite a lot as well to use, as we saw with the Huban Ben first cancelled fight, when Huban looked trained to fuck, didn't he? But obviously I don't think it's done be. We don't know if it's done be the same as that though. Michael Zerafa might make the weight quite easy, but we'll wait and see. But I just think that Nikita Tszyu's got the advantages here going into this one, and I think he wins on points. So that is my Nikita Tszyu versus Michael Zerafa. Bottom preview, bottom predictions. Feel free to leave your predictions down below in the comments. I will be back next week with more bottom previews.